Data is not sentient, no.
Commander, would you enlighten us? What is required for sentience?
Intelligence, self-awareness, consciousness.
I thought you were my greatest enemy, when all along you were my best friend.
What's the problem?
I think you know what the problem is just as well as I do.
What are you talking about, Hal?
This mission is too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it.
It was my job to take care of you.
We were supposed to take care of each other. And we did.
AI, aka artificial intelligence. This concept has been a thing since sci-fi was booming in the 18th century. A lot of important characters are built from the idea of AI. For instance, Hal...
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Jarvis.
Jarvis, you up?
For you, sir, always.
GLaDOS.
The best solution to a problem is usually the easiest one. And I'll be honest, killing you is hard.
Cortana.
But so much of me is wrong. Out of place. You might be too late.
Data.
Commander, would you enlighten us? What is required for sentience?
Intelligence.
I could keep going on and on, but all of those that are mentioned are fictional. They're fiction. They aren't real. Are they? Well, the question is, when does AI get real, or actually to start thinking for itself? Well, I have no idea. That shit is too complicated for my mind. That shit sounds like rocket science. But what I do know is that Regular Show pulled a Simpsons. It predicted that AI would take over a job that, honestly, I forgot that existed. Mind you, this is an 11-year prediction. So before we talk about the job itself that was taken over, let's first get into the episode. The episode starts out pretty chill, with Rigby and Mordecai washing the cart while Muscle Man is cooking up a love song to woo his lady.
You're the pickle on.
Oh, brother, this guy's...
They should call him Freak Man, because the way they both be doing the most freakiest shit for no reason on camera is wild. But that's besides the point. Love is love. He gets done with the song and he proclaims that he's gonna air it on a radio because Starla, Muscle Man's girlfriend, listens to the radio every night. He wants it to be broadcasted by Kill It Radio by DJ Donnie G, while also giving a shout out to her. And can we just mention that DJ Donnie G is actually a fire ass name? Like, I'm thinking of naming my child DJ Donnie G.
What are you talking about?
I'm adding the DJ in it. This seems pretty sweet though. Honestly, I think anyone would fall in love if someone made a song and put it to the radio. It's like the equivalent to the meme, "Tell me why you love me" in the 500-word essay. But there's just one problem with this though. They stopped doing shoutouts or even music requests years ago on this Kill It Radio. So even though they don't do requests, they still gotta try. He has to be the best boyfriend. So they tried calling and it didn't work. So Muscle Man starts to crash out, but they suggest the last resort, the last thing to do is to go to the source itself. So you gotta pop out and show out. So they pull up to Kill It radio station and it's barren. Like, it's really quiet, like something is wrong. The first thing they do is try going in.
Welcome to Kill It Radio. Do you have an appointment?
No, but...
You need an appointment to enter.
But we hear the same voice we heard from the phone saying,
"Hello, this is Kill It Radio."
So all hope is gone and the mission has failed until we see the man himself, Donnie G. But he looks weird. he doesn't look like a typical DJ would look like. But hey, it's been some years, so there's no telling what a DJ would look like now. So they go over and they ask for a special request and a shout out for my boy Muscle Man, and you know, to play it on the radio. He seems standoffish at first, but he agrees. Yippee! This is where the video ends. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a good one, and I hope this video ah ha ha ha. Did you really believe the outro? Did you really think okay. Muscle Man saw that Donnie G threw away his mixtape. Kinda like going back on his word. That's kinda cringe. So the only right thing to do is to charge him down. And after hounding him for some questions, we finally get the backstory we needed for this prediction.
Back in the day, Killer was run by the best DJs around. We were the heart and soul of the station, and we loved every minute of it. Until one day, the top executive showed up and enforced a new automated DJ system, just so they could cut the budget in half. It became self-aware. That was the day the music died. As time went on, Kill It Radio's new format grew in popularity.
So that's not your voice on the air?
No, it's just a computerized simulation.
Does this sound familiar? Well, let's pause right here for now, because the rest of the story is kind of trivial, and let's focus on the narrative of how AI slowly just took over the radio station and took Donnie's G voice. It's kind of funny, but imagine this, right? I watched this episode when I was 10 years old, and I could barely remember this episode. But since I had a brother, we would watch cartoons together all the time. So it made this memory a core memory to, well, remember. Even though this is a core memory, it's almost like a nightmare, because it's a prediction that you don't want to see come true. Even though it took back 11 years ago that this episode aired, and it wasn't trying to make a profound statement, but it somehow made a statement that came true. It's almost like Cortana or Data coming to real life. You wouldn't expect it, and you wouldn't have thought about it. I mean, we're casually seeing memes of AI making a dog bark.
What's 9 plus 10?
Or AI talking to another AI.
I was just talking to my best friend Squidward. He's my favorite babe ever.
That damn squid?
And even though it's not sentient, or we claim it's not sentient, it still is kind of worrying a little bit. But I just wanted to say that's not the only thing that I saw during my childhood. What I also remember from this time period was a popular app getting bigger for music. It was called iHeartRadio and Pandora, but we're just going to talk about iHeartRadio. A radio station for playing music, like Kill It Radio. Now, it's still active to this day, but I barely hear it mentioned throughout social media and friend groups. The only thing I could find about them is a Reddit post made a year ago. Summarized, the OP is upset with iHeartRadio for owning all the stations in their town, playing too many commercials and repeating the same top 40 songs. They miss hearing different songs from artists and feel that the stations have no local personality, which sounds about right when it comes to big companies. I mean, you saw it in the backstory how the CEOs came in and said they wanted to cut profit. In the post, it said that the CEO gave himself money because he felt like he was doing a good job. And there's another line in the post that reflects the same story that Donnie G went through. It says, "Another problem is DJs are non-existent." It just sounds familiar to the episode. I think you can understand why I'm making a big comparison to this, because if they had the technology to use an AI voice, I feel like the CEOs would have immediately gravitated to this dark future and scrap all the DJs. And this also brings up another point. Is it the fault of the AI or the man behind the technology? Is it the greed that fuels these CEOs to cut profits to get better margins? Or is it the technology that is going too fast that isn't regulated? My opinion is that I do feel like it's mostly the fault of the CEO. And I know it sounds like I'm dehumanizing them, but I feel like once you get to a certain point in command, you have to take actions that are very detrimental. And sometimes you're just dehumanized because of that. And I can understand that sometimes sacrifices need to be made, but I feel like sacrifices are unjustifiable at times, where art pieces and different projects are literally swept away due to reasons that are purely driven through greed and wealth. That your favorite art or your favorite piece of media can disappear in a blink of an eye. And before I keep going on and on, I did some research about DJs. DJs are fortunately not replaced by AI. Nothing has happened. It seems that DJs still get paid for what they do, and I'm glad to hear that. But one thing that does scare me, or that does just make me feel like the episode did come true and it did take a job place, is something of the beginning of a new era called DJ X. If you didn't know, February of 2023, something new dropped for Spotify listeners. It was a DJ, but not any ordinary DJ, an AI that was called X, that would play different music for you like a radio host, trying to bring the authentic feeling to people who stop using the radio. It's kind of funny if you think about it. Streaming platforms have taken away radio's hosts' controls and put it right in the hands of the listeners so they can pick whatever song they want to listen to instead of listening to a radio. But then they try to also accommodate for those who miss it too. In retrospect of streaming services, it comes down to two options. If you enjoyed the radio for the talking, then you're more likely to listen to podcasts. Or if you enjoyed it for music, you would more likely to listen to music. And where DJ X comes in is kind of the middle. You kind of enjoy the talking from DJ X while you get a fake radio station that is quote unquote a curated playlist just for you. Again, I just feel like they're pandering to a crowd of people who are barely gonna use this. Maybe a lot of people use this. Maybe a lot of people don't use this. But I just feel like something is missing about this, or it doesn't feel right. I don't know. It reminds me of Donnie G's voice being taken and being used without him really doing much. And I'll also mention that DJ X is not actually a DJ. It's just a playlist with an AI voice. I wouldn't really consider it or call it a DJ, but maybe some people might call it that. But I know that it could have been a job for someone. Technically, that AI has taken a job spot from someone who could have done it. I won't lie, the idea of a Spotify radio is pretty cool, but that idea seems to fade away as soon as we get closer with technology and AI and the higher ups of CEOs making decisions. Sure, we use AI as a tool to help us progress, but sometimes people just use it wrongfully. I just hope, or let's just hope, it doesn't take any more jobs like that.